Our purpose, our dharma, is to take the lessons from the experiences, be neutral with them, allow it to help us grow further, and allow all those situations to push us further towards the extraordinary life, to find the joy, the pleasure, the awe in everything around us, in the absolute majesty that is the human life that we get to experience, because we are so fortunate to experience it. This podcast is called Reconditioned because this is the place where you'll learn how to truly recondition your entire life. Where other wellness podcasts or platforms focus on one particular area of wellness or inner growth, Reconditioned is a one-stop shop for all of it, so that you can get all the information you need to heal and up-level the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of your life in one place. Because that's what I needed when I was healing from the arthritis I had from the age of 2 that left me disabled by 18. I got myself to a place of complete wellness after a very long journey of immersion into the world of healing, where I learned how to heal the whole self. My purpose now is about bringing that to you, and my Rise membership is an extension of that. For women who want to take their wellness and growth to the next level, there really is nothing out there like it. You'll be part of a global community of like-minded women with access to 14 modules that literally take you through everything you ever need to learn in order to bring your life to a place of balance and abundance. With group coaching calls with me, personalized support, community book club, and so much more. Rise becomes part of your life, your lifestyle, enabling you to thrive in the ways you always dreamed, with me right there beside you, championing you through your journey. It's not always open for enrollment, so if you're hearing this now, it's open and ready for you to enroll. Just go to the show notes for the link or visit laurenvakneen.co.uk/rise. Welcome back to Reconditioned. Thank you so much for being here, listening to my Rise episodes, which, as you know, if you've been here for a while, are episodes of just me on my own, giving you some life coaching guidance, which incorporates kind of everything I do and study and teach, which incorporates kind of the whole self. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual healing. And I'm really excited to speak to you about what I'm going to speak to you about today, because it's a topic that I speak about a lot. Anyone who's on my Rise membership will know that this topic comes up all the time. It is everything to me. It is the subject of us living from a place of fine, the no man's land of fine, of stagnation, which the majority of people I come across are living from, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we realize it or not. Most people are living from that place because we don't really know any different. And we don't realize that we can move into what I call the extraordinary life. And so I've created a method, which I call the Inspire method, which is an acronym. And I will be taking you through that in this episode. And it is kind of like something you can refer back to at any point to go through the Inspire method, to go through all the letters that make up the acronym of Inspire, so that you can tick off every day, am I living from a place of fine, or am I moving myself towards the extraordinary life? So stay tuned. I know, interrupting an episode with an ad is so annoying, I know. But guys, I want to ask you not to fast forward this and listen for just 2 minutes, because there is a huge element of health optimization and reducing risk of illness that most people don't even realize. You need to be reducing artificial blue light in the home and get targeted red light on your body. The reason is because when the body registers blue light, your brain, based on evolution, assumes it's early daytime. But our brains in 2024 are registering blue light from our light bulbs and our screens at literally all hours, prompting our bodies to produce cortisol, the stress hormone, as well as other hormones we just shouldn't be producing at night. This affects our stress and anxiety levels, and it stops the cells in our bodies being able to repair and regenerate at night. And let me be clear, when our cellular health is compromised, we literally cannot stay healthy. And our amazing partner, Block Blue Light, have created some incredible light bulbs that allow you to switch between settings and have only amber light at night, which is what we kitted our whole house out with when we renovated a few years ago. And if you do need to work after dark, like I have to sometimes, Block Blue Light also have amazing blue light blocking red light glasses, some that fit over your usual glasses, and they can even custom make glasses with your prescription. They also have some of the most powerful and effective red light machines on the market, using photobiomodulation to help keep the mitochondria in your cells healthy, something we cannot be healthy without, as well as helping your body to produce more collagen for bones and joints and to keep skin looking great as you age. It also supports pain and recovery, and red light is said to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's because of how it impacts brain health. We can't control everything happening in this modern world that affects our health, but my personal motto is to mitigate where we can and put in place everything we can for the things we can control, and blue light is one of them. You can get a 10% discount across the range by visiting blockbluelight.co.uk and using the code LV10. Okay, back to the show. Okay, welcome back, and I am excited to take you through what the Inspire method is. But first, kind of a little background on why I feel so passionately about this. So I always say that people come to me, from all walks of life. I mean, we have Women on the Rise membership from countries all over the world. We have about 13 different American states, Canada, South American countries, New Zealand, Australia, all over Europe. So I mean all walks of life, all from varying backgrounds, and all with kind of varying reasons of why they want to do this work, from physical issues, physical health issues, chronic health issues, to mental health, to confidence, to women who just want to find or, step into their purpose, women feeling unfulfilled, that general kind of, I don't know what's wrong and I'm not unhappy, but I'm not exactly happy, which is basically another way of saying fine. And I never let any of my clients or even any of my friends use the word fine. And it's a running joke kind of among my friends and my family members that I don't like the word fine, because what is fine? Like the dictionary definition of fine is something like will do. Will do. Is that what we wanted for our lives when we were younger? Like a life of it will do? I don't think so. And I don't want anyone to have to live like that. And so I'm always guiding my clients and you guys listening towards what I call the extraordinary life. Now, the extraordinary life doesn't have to mean, giving up your home and, moving to Costa Rica to open a mango farm and host ayahuasca ceremonies. It doesn't have to mean you take some major steps, or that you are rich enough to live in a massive mansion and never have to work again and have everything you want. That's not what the extraordinary life is. The extraordinary life is a life of fulfillment, of joy, of finding joy and awe in everything around you, right? I don't particularly want to live in London for the rest of my life. I've lived here so far most of my life. And, the grey skies don't always do it for me. And not everything in my life is perfect. Many things in my life are not perfect. No one's life is perfect. But I have taught myself to find joy and awe and love and gratitude in the everyday. And being able to wake up every morning feeling excited about the day ahead, despite things externally not always being perfect, working towards things being as they need to be, as the universe wants them to be for you, and going to bed every night grateful for everything you've experienced that day, that's the extraordinary life. That's extraordinary, right? To feel like that at the end of every day and to know that you're working towards your purpose, your dharma, I call it. So, because people think purpose is so many things, but basically what you do for work. I'm not living in my purpose because it's just I don't like my office job, or, that's not purpose. I always say to people, even raising your children is not your purpose, right? Because they have their own blueprint, own dharma, their own reasons for incarnating here. As do we. And part of the way that we will navigate this human life and learn the lessons we need to learn is through raising our children, if you are raising children. But that is not your purpose, right? You will learn lessons from it because the entire purpose, your purpose of incarnating here as a cosmic being, you chose to incarnate here on planet Earth because planet Earth offers many lessons. It's where we get to experience the full spectrum of human emotion, which, I don't know, I am not 100% on this, can't be 100%, but from all my spiritual learnings and what I tune into, I believe that this is the only place where we can tune into that, where that's available to us. There are other places we can incarnate, other planets, other solar systems, and they don't offer us the same opportunities to grow because of the level of challenges, the amount of challenges we do face on planet Earth. And I think that that is by design, which is why we need to be neutral about everything that happens. You know, life isn't supposed to be just, you know, it's kind of like we're always working through the bad things in order to get through it to be at the good things. And when the good things are good and you're happy, that's great. But the purpose of life isn't just to reach those things. The purpose of life is to experience everything fully so that as a cosmic being who chose to incarnate here to learn specific lessons, you can learn those and implement them and take the lessons to the next place. So that your soul has evolved on this conscious evolution, right? You're elevating through those lessons, and those lessons come through challenges. But we judge the challenges. We judge everything as good and bad. And if it's not good, then we're not happy about it and we don't want it. We don't have the ability to just be objective about things and just be neutral and just take the lessons. So one of the biggest pieces of advice that I have taken from spiritual teachers in the past is don't judge a situation as good or bad. Just be in the isness of it. Just be in it and take from it what you need to take from it, right? It's so liberating to do that because then you realize you don't have to just be sad all the time and be angry and be upset. You just continue learning. And yes, you're working towards the extraordinary life. The irony is that the more you can be like that and the more you're keeping your vibration high at any given point, because you're not falling into those lower vibrational frequencies, those dense frequencies of emotion, then you're able to vibrate higher, right? You're vibrating at a higher energetic frequency when you're not constantly existing from anger or fear or shame or judgment or any of those things. When you can live from anything from acceptance upwards, because on the Hawkins scale of consciousness, acceptance comes in at 350, where love comes in at 500. Shame is at 30, right? So even if we get ourselves to acceptance, just acceptance of our circumstances, then we're in a much better place from an energetic vibration perspective. And when we are vibrating at a higher energetic frequency, we then become more resonant to higher vibrational situations and people coming our way. Now, the caveat with that is that acceptance has a kind of, well, acceptance is multifaceted, right? It's not an acceptance of accepting things the way they are when they're not good enough, when they're not okay. It's acceptance in the way of, I am okay with however things play out because I trust in the universe to conspire in my favor, right? So it's not like I'm in this crappy relationship being treated like rubbish and I know this person isn't right for me, but I'm just kind of accepting what it is because I just think that's the best I can do, or I'm scared to be on my own, or I'm just accepting that I'm sick and I'm not going to work to get myself better because that's just, I'm just kind of plodding. So the entire kind of premise of fine is plodding, right? If you want to have a visual for it, just the plodding life, right? And I don't want any of you to live that life of plodding and, just willing acceptance of everything that might not be serving you and your authenticity. It's all about, are you living from a place of authenticity? So there are so many facets to it. And I'm going to go through the Inspire method and how it gives us the opportunity to really look at where are we living in fine and how can we assess how we turn that around every single day. And so really that is, I guess, the definition of fine and purpose, because we have to understand what purpose is in order to really kind of push ourselves out of fine, right? Your purpose isn't to be here plodding. You did not incarnate here. And that is one thing I am pretty sure about. I mean, the true master knows they know nothing, but I'm 99.9% sure that we didn't choose to incarnate here to plod, right? I'm pretty sure that we incarnated here to elevate on our conscious evolution, to push ourselves further, to learn the lessons through whatever challenges may come our way, as well as the happy, good times. And I say that in quote marks because the good and the bad we see is so binary, but we shouldn't be judging them. We should just be taking the lessons from them. So our purpose, our dharma, is to take the lessons from the experiences, be neutral with them, allow it to help us grow further, and allow all those situations to push us further towards the extraordinary life, to find the joy, the pleasure, the awe in everything around us, in the absolute majesty that is the human life that we get to experience, because we are so fortunate to experience it. And before I move on to the Inspire method, I'll kind of just give a little, I guess, a fable that I heard once. And I cannot remember where I heard it, but it's kind of like a spiritual tale of two spirits that are sitting having a conversation. And one is talking about how he misses life on Earth. And no, I think there was one kind of spirit who had passed on from Earth, and was, a light being, and one person's spirit who was on Earth communicating through the dream time to the spirit. And this, the person who was, in form saying, but life is so hard here. And, I just think I've had enough, and it's just too difficult to be here because there's so much hardship all the time. And the light being communicated back that I'm saying they instead of he, because I'm guessing that they are absolutely genderless. They missed the opportunity, though they are in this incredible place where everything is love and all you feel all the time is love. They also didn't get the opportunity or the experience anymore to witness a sunset, to put their feet in the sand, to hear a baby crying, to taste delicious food, to feel the touch of a lover, to smell a baby's skin or a rose in a rose orchard. We are so fortunate to be able to have that, to live on a planet that gives us that, where aside from all the other 6+ senses, all the other senses we have, and there are many when we think about frequency and what we can't see, but to have the 5 human senses, we underestimate the importance of them. That's why I always say when we talk about food, it's not just about nourishing the body, it's about nourishing the soul. What is your human body getting from eating that food in that moment? How is it being nourished in more ways than just nourishing the cells of your body to create health? Going into a forest. Every day on my walks with my dog, we go into the woods and I stop and I smell the forest. And people think I'm crazy because I'll often stop when there's no one around, and then someone will come up behind me and I'm just standing there sniffing the forest. But I'll just stand there with my eyes closed. You don't hear the birds when your eyes are open. And you don't smell the forest when your eyes are open. And, just touching the tree and being so in tune enough because you're not plodding anymore and you're existing so deeply in this life that you can sense the tree breathing and you can sense Mother Earth alive. That is the extraordinary life. That is when you're in a place where you're no longer plodding, you're no longer fine, you've moved yourself to the extraordinary life. And I guarantee you, when you're operating from that place where you are finding joy and pleasure and awe in the everyday, you are raising your vibration so much that you become resonant with amazing things. You're more resonant to wealth, to health, to love, to abundance, to the right people coming into your life. That's just the law of all that is, really. That's quantum mechanics. So let us go through the Inspire method so I can kind of just really give you a tool for this. So it's not just me kind of talking about, go and be in awe and be in joy, but kind of how do you do it? So identity. So we're seeing identity as an acronym. Inspire is the acronym. We're seeing Inspire as the acronym. And the first one, I, is for identity, right? And if you've been here a while, you would have heard me saying this a million times. So I apologize, especially to the ladies on my Rise membership, because I say this over and over and over again. But we think this work is about healing the body and, finding good nutrition and inner child healing and trauma healing and all those other things. But above anything else, all of that is umbrellaed under identity. It's about teaching you and you learning how to shift from the identity of the person you've been, right? The identity of the sick person, the broke person, the single person, like insert whatever it is for you, into the identity of the person you want to be. The identity that supports all the things you want from your life. Right, operating from the old identity of the sick person or the person who's always broke, or the forever perpetually single person, whatever it is for you, the person with mental health problems, people often exist in the identity of an illness. I did that. That's why I wasn't healing. It was learning about identity that I had to shift into the identity of the healthy person before I was there. That would make me better. So operating from that identity, you won't be able to move into a life of health or wealth or abundance or joy. Identity comes before it all. That's the work we do on the Rise Academy, teaching my ladies how to truly move into the identity of the person they want to be through all our thoughts, feelings, actions, and words. Identity is everything. Everything. Nothing else matters and nothing else will work until you're existing from the right identity. So the I of the Inspire method is identity. N is for nurture. So nurture is about making sure you are nurturing yourself. You are prioritizing your self-care, your chosen self-care practices. And I always say, and when I do workshops on kind of how to really kind of bring this in for yourself, really how to implement your practices every day. You don't need to do all of them every day because life is busy, right? So we want to do the meditation and the stillness practice and the walk in nature and the breath work and the journaling and all of the things, right? And there are so many things. Choose 2 to 4 practices that will serve you most that day. So as you wake up in the morning, give gratitude for waking up to just have the absolute pleasure and privilege of having another day to experience this planet and life on this planet. And after you've given that gratitude, ask your intuition, what 2 to 4 practices do you need to prioritize today? Which 2 to 4 practices are going to serve you most that day? What's going to nurture you most that day? So N is for nurture, the nurturing of the self that we have to do every day. We have to prioritize. I always say our self-development practices, our spiritual practices are not something we can just slot in if we happen to have time at the end of the day. We schedule them in. We prioritize them. I don't care how little time I have. And let me tell you, I don't have as much time as people think I have, right? I have a mammoth school run. I'm in the car 3 hours every day after prioritizing this school that I prioritized for my kids. And, so by the time I get home, I have a few hours to work and get it all done. And walk the dog, by the way. So after the dog walk, I sit down and I do my stillness practice. And that is priority. And there are other, kind of self-development and spiritual practices I do throughout the day and some in the evening. And, figuring out where to put in exercise and all those things. But even when I know how much I have to do, I always prioritize my stillness practice. So nurture, N is for nurture, making sure you are prioritizing nurturing of the self every single day. S is for self-inquiry. This is an invitation to take an honest look at your actions, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors every single day and see if they're in alignment with your chosen identity, the identity of the person you want to be, not the one you've been up until now that you don't want to be anymore. If you don't move into that self-inquiry every day, how are you going to have that access to knowing if you are existing from the identity of the person you don't want to be? If you're not inquiring about your true self and your actions that day? How are you going to get true with yourself on whether you are existing in the identity of the person you want to be? So journaling is a great way to do that. If you journal every day or most days, journaling opens up the subconscious. They say that if you journal for, say, at least 12 to 13 minutes, at the 12 to 13 minute mark is where the subconscious feels safe enough to come through. And if you sit there and journal for 5 minutes, your subconscious doesn't really feel safe enough yet. You're kind of still in that fight and flight. Your brain's probably still in the heightened beta brainwave state where it's not kind of comfortable in really falling into a deep practice of journaling and self-inquiry. So if you get kind of past that 12, 13 minute mark, your subconscious will come through and your subconscious tells you the truth, right? So journaling every day or nearly every day is a really important step in the Inspire process because it forces us into self-inquiry and it forces us into self-regulation, right? We need that self-regulation, which I think comes from self-inquiry. When we know where we're at, we're taking an honest look at ourselves every day, right? Able to see where we're still existing from shadow, we're able to regulate more effectively. P is for presence, taking time to ground on the earth and taking moments in the day to feel present and connected to truth and self and source. Those are probably all one thing, but let's just say them all just to kind of, just give it that depth. So every single day, taking moments in the day. So first of all, grounding on the earth. The earth's electromagnetic field charges us like our phone charger charges our phone. We need the same. We cannot be charged and we cannot function effectively without the earth's electromagnetic field. If we're indoors all day, we don't get that. We don't get the benefits of that. So taking time to just put your feet on the earth, even for 5 minutes, get out in nature every day. I don't care how long you're there, but get out in nature every single day and take moments in the day to feel present and connected. So I find that the best way to do that is through breath work. Every hour or so, just doing 2 minutes of balanced breathing, breathing in through the nose for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, hold for 4, 2 minutes of that. Just 2 minutes of that takes your brain from that heightened beta brainwave state back down to alpha, which is where we can be focused and calm and present and just productive, but in a really focused, connected way. So for me, breath work does that for me instantly. And I end my day with breath work as well when I go to sleep. So, and then, there are loads of guided breathwork meditations you can do on YouTube as well. But honestly, throughout the day, just do 2 minutes here and there, and it will literally heal your brain because our brains are overwhelmed with all the information that's constantly coming our way that our brains are not prepared for, and the amount of doing we have to do in every single day that is just unprecedented in human life. So we have to find ways to mitigate what that's doing for us. And I do that by being present. So that's the P. I is for integrity. And what that really means is authenticity. So when you've done that deep healing work to get back to a place of authenticity, you vibrate at a different frequency. And actually, when I was interviewing Dr. Zach Bush, he discovered that when you're operating from authenticity, so for me, that means you've healed the trauma, the labels, the conditioning, all that stuff that has you behaving from a place of shadow, and you continue to practice that daily, you vibrate 40 times higher than the vibration of love, which is huge, right? You can only imagine what love vibrates at. But when you're operating from authenticity, you're vibrating 40 times higher than that. Can you imagine what you will be magnetic to from that place? Can you even imagine the magnetism that you create for yourself when you're operating from authenticity? Right? From that energetic frequency, you cannot help but attract to you the higher vibrational situations and people. And authenticity guys, it's a deep dive into shadow work. It's not easy, it's not fun, and it is not comfortable. But that's why it's such a big module on my Rise membership. It comes right after Inner Child. It's the second module, because without doing that, you can't really do anything else. Without taking a deep, hard look at who you are and all the things that you don't want to see about yourself and haven't wanted to see about yourself, which all of us have. We've been conditioned. And as children, we survive that way. We survive by taking on the behaviors of our caregivers so that we feel that we are being accepted by them. And then we have to kind of decondition from that. We have to uncondition ourselves from all that conditioning, all the labels that have been put on us. But the thing is that most people don't realize how conditioned they are. They think that the ways in which they behave, like, oh, I'm just a really reserved person, I don't talk openly about my feelings, or this is just me, I'm just like really loud and I like to just say what I want, and all the in-betweens, all of that stuff, it's all shadow. Most of the time, the natural ways we behave that we think are natural are actually conditioning. And that's why it's deep work, because we don't realize we're doing it. So you can imagine just how challenging it is to start uncovering that. And what happens with most of my members is they have a moment of, oh my God, this thing that I thought was literally me, who I was, part of my character, is actually not me. And now I have to find a way to decondition from that. And that's why the work is intense and long. And it's not, a course you go through in 3 months. It's long-term work and dedication to growth. It's a lifestyle, right? So that is the I for integrity. That is authenticity. It is one of the most important things you will do in your growth journey, is healing the conditioning that has created your shadow, which you're currently not recognizing, and moving into a place of authenticity, operating as the person you were always meant to be before all those conditionings, those traumas, those labels pushed you into being something else. R is for resilience. And I love talking about resilience, actually, because, we often think that we've kind of come into this age where we've been seeking out a lot of therapy and support and help. And that is great, but it's also led us a bit to the extreme of thinking that we need to be experiencing our emotions all the time. And actually, that's not the case. There is a middle ground between our grandparents' generation, which was stiff upper lip, keep calm and carry on, don't talk about your feelings, what's therapy, don't be ridiculous, and where we are now, which is everyone's just talking about their emotions and focusing on trauma all the time. What happens when we do that? And stick with me here, right? If you're in therapy, if you're, someone who's kind of just you believe that this is where we need to be, stick with me. If we're existing in our emotions all the time, we are existing in the dense frequencies of those negative emotions, right? Which vibrate at very low energetic frequencies. And we've just spoken about what that means in terms of what we magnetize to ourselves. So existing in those dense frequencies means that we are losing our personal power, as my shaman Don Javier calls it. Personal power is you being able to choose your thoughts, choosing how you process your emotions, choosing joy. This is resilience, by the way. Resilience means choosing your thoughts, choosing not to let life beat you down, choosing joy, instilling boundaries that support this. We are deeper and bigger and more powerful than the emotions we allow to take over us. That's not to say we don't feel and process them. I have a massive process on the Rise membership that takes you through how to process your emotions through and out your body. Because the idea is not that you don't feel and process them, it's that you do exactly that. But we don't do that. We just continue feeling them and letting them exist in our energetic body, which then metastasizes into dis-ease. But emotions are energetic things that lodge in the body. So we actually have to feel them and kind of be in it for a while. And when I say a while, I don't mean very long at all. But then we process it through and out the body, somatically, removing it out the body. That's somatic healing. And it is so powerful because the energy of an emotion we know now, because we can measure frequency. And, Dr. Bradley Nelson's work from the Emotion Code and Dr. Peter Levine's work in books like Waking the Tiger, Bessel van der Kolk's work in The Body Keeps the Score. These are all coming off the top of my head right now, so excuse me if I've got any of them wrong. These are all proving that emotions get lodged in the body as a physical thing, right? So we have to process them through and out the body. And when we do that, we are regaining our personal power, not existing in the dense frequencies of the emotions and the thoughts. Learning how to control our thoughts. That is a spiritual practice, right? Practices are just that. You have to practice them. It doesn't come overnight. But that is resilience. Resilience is us taking control over all the things that we think we don't have control over. So that we are resilient beings who are moving through this life, navigating it based on what we're learning and being able to take those lessons as opposed to just getting beat down by them. And it's so important that we know that there's a difference there and that we have a choice. Things will happen to us. Nobody gets to get to the end of this life, to the end of human life, without any struggle, right? No one gets to go through human life without trauma and struggle and pain and the rest of it. No one. Show me one person who ever has. We're not meant to, because they're teaching us things for our conscious evolution. So the idea is that we choose resilience. We choose to go above them. We process it. We're not ignoring them. We're not ignoring the emotions. That's a very different thing altogether, because then that emotion is still trapped in the body, right? So you can't win either way. This is about processing them and then choosing resilience, choosing to move forward in joy and love and awe and all those great things we've been speaking about. And again, it allows us to vibrate higher than when we're existing in the dense frequencies of those emotions. So resilience really is part of your journey as a cosmic being living a human experience. So lastly, E is for enjoy. Enjoy. Joy. Joy is life. As my spiritual teacher always says, we're here to learn the lessons that help us evolve. I've said it many times in this episode already. We're here for nothing else than to learn those lessons and experience joy. So bring joy into your life wherever you can. Experience it deep in your being. But make a choice to prioritize joy daily. And it is a choice, because if you're listening to this going through some deep, difficult stuff right now, I get that is not easy, because I do it myself through pain, through a whole manner of things. And that was how I brought myself out of dis-ease. Finding joy in the daily, the everyday. Being able to prioritize joy and find it in small moments, regardless of what is going on that is not necessarily joyful. You can still bring joy into your life. So there you have it, the Inspire method that will keep you accountable to your growth as you navigate this journey of self-discovery and self-development and healing. I believe it is a powerful method to keep you out of fine and moving towards the extraordinary life. And I truly hope that you'll use it to continue furthering this journey for you and to continue helping and supporting you to move towards that extraordinary life, because we should all be in the extraordinary life. No one should be living in that no man's land of fine, that place of stagnation, that life of plodding. No one should be there, including you, no matter what you've got going on, what your background is, what any of that other stuff is. That's all external. That is not the truth of who you are. And you can absolutely move towards the extraordinary life. So I hope this episode has helped you want to move out of fine and want to move towards the extraordinary life. And more of this coming soon. Watch this space, because I'm talking about fine a lot coming up. And as usual, if you enjoy this episode, please share it with someone who you think it could benefit, someone who needs to hear this today. And feel free to leave me a little review. So thank you so much for being here. This is the last episode of season 13. And I know seasons don't really make a difference because they just kind of keep rolling around. But guys, the next episode, beginning of season 14, is Dr. Zach Bush. You don't want to miss it. It is life-changing. So make sure you are subscribed to the podcast and that you stick around. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Reconditioned. I am honestly so grateful to each and every person that tunes in. Thank you also for taking responsibility for your own well-being. You should know that just by choosing to listen to podcasts like this that further your well-being, you're moving more deeply into abundance consciousness. Now, don't forget, I have a bunch of free resources over at laurenvakneen.co.uk, as well as every recommendation you could ever need in regards to your well-being on the LV Recommends page, all categorized for your ease. Thank you also to our sponsors. These episodes would not be possible without them, so make sure to check them out and get some pretty awesome discounts on the show notes. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so that you can get updated each time a new one is released. Thank you. I appreciate you.